There is more to Ignatius than meets the eyes. The autobiographical text begins with, "He was a man given to the follies of the world," and ends with, "Every time, any hour that he wishes to find God, he found him." We find a quantum leap in the life of Ignatius. There are two dominant images of Ignatius, the soldier saint and the mystic. In fact, Ignatius the mystic has replaced Ignatius the soldier saint in our time. Ignatius was never a finished product, nor was he static in the process of his encounter with the Almighty. He was ever open to the power of the Holy Spirit in his life and ready to learn from any given situation. Ignatius had no well-drawn man, was learning as a child taught by God. It was a way of proceeding to get to the destination. In the beginning, he hoped to bring himself closer to God by fasting and self-mortification. Later, he discouraged all the potential practices that weaken one's energy. His modest approach broke with the old models of his time. He tore down the monastery walls to immerse his Jesuits in the maelstrom of daily life, and he sacrificed the traditional and beautiful chant in common of the divine office in the interest of gaining time for apostolic action. His desire to save his soul was transformed into the desire to help souls. There was an exponential movement in the life of Ignatius from "What more can I still do for Christ?" to "What more can I, the Lord, do for you?" Walter Brugsman reminds that prophetic ministry does not consist of spectacular acts of social crusading, but of offering an alternative perspective of reality. In his later years, Ignatius was asked why he proceeded differently, in other words, dynamically, and he responded, "For this, I appeal to Manresa." Ignatius had sublime illumination of soul at Manresa, and that explains Ignatian prophetic mysticism in all his activities in the ensuing years of his life. Ignatian, in the phrase Ignatian prophetic mysticism, no longer denotes one example among others falling under the general category of mysticism. Here, spiritual life is a journey that one undertakes from the foot of the cross to the world to save it, and not from the world to save oneself. As worldly being ourselves, we can find God only through the things of the world. Here, action and contemplation converge. An affective experience of God's love is made possible, and divine guidance in everyday life is felt. The mysticism flowing from the experience of Ignatius directs us simultaneously towards the mystery of God and the activity of God in His creation. God showed Himself, herself in creation, and wishes to be met there, to be adored, loved, and served there. Finding God in all things is not the starting point of Ignatius, but the outcome of a life spent in searching for God, a life of everyday mysticism. This insight shows us the interconnectedness of everything. The sense of separation between the other and the self softens. What is human life's chief concern? One of the answers we should receive would be, it is happiness. Ignatian prophetic mysticism, the mysticism of service, tries to extend this happiness to everyone. Love ought to manifest itself in deeds and to reach out to the greatest, yet stay by the least. This must be our learning from the pandemic too. Our peak experiences in life should lead us to have the sublime illumination of Ignatius, and that should guide our life. The great Jesuit paleontologist Pierre Teilhard de Chardin rightly says, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience."